flexible in terms of skeleton, but also satisfies those needs of market fundamentals, dimension, product, and ultimately shape and freshness. And I think the young man's blue hip gilt in this class needs to go ahead and win. Gilt that we love in terms of power and dimension from behind, really fresh and expressive over her top, and ultimately it's that dimension that's aided by that bold rib shape and productive center of body. Gilt that maybe we like her foot and bone to go ahead and match that added power she has on the top side of her skeleton, but I think it's sound enough and flexible enough, certainly extremely genuine and square in her build to go ahead and win this class. To come in second in class is a young man's blue hip hog. Hog that in terms of genuine fundamentals, I think in terms of fundamentally correct market hogs, this is one you really have to appreciate. Extremely wide, dimensional down his top, really fresh and expressive, good skin and hair, got enough dimension and shape from behind. I like to change his hog's center body, give him just a touch more rib shape. I'd like him to go with more ease and flexibility in those rear joints, mainly median his hog. But a hog in terms of fundamentals, in terms of market fundamentals, I think one you certainly have to appreciate. On the other end of the spectrum, there's a hog that's going to end up third in class that I wish I could combine with the hog that's in second. The young lady in the pink shirts, gilt is one that you really have to appreciate from the side. I think in terms of quality, maybe towards the top end of class, a level top, tall fronted hog that's extended in front of that blade, really big forearm and drives with ease and flexibility. You get in behind this hog or you stand in front and he drives at you, you notice that this hog ranks third, maybe fourth in terms of skeletal width and dimension, and I think you see that in terms of top shape and power from behind. Just like to give him a shot more dimension in that regard, but a really high quality look from the side. Young man's belted hog's going to round out our class here, and again in terms of shape, expression, and freshness, I think that's a high credibility build that you really have to appreciate. Now in terms of structure, like we talked about again, you get in behind this, feel confident in saying that these are most likely our three best hogs here. I feel confident in that. It's always fun to see if there's a method to my madness whenever we get them out here, look at them side by side, and watch them drive around. And I think it's true. These hogs out here both not only satisfy those fundamentals we talk about in terms of muscle shape and dimension and quality, but also structurally. I think we've got some good ones out here in terms of how their angles set in their skeleton, their ability to drive with ease and flexibility. So with that being said, I talked about before finding the most complete one, or maybe the one that combines the tandem of muscle and quality to the utmost ability. And I think there's a couple hogs out here that are extremely close, slight differences, and if you're on the outside of the ring today, you may like them different, and I might not disagree with you tomorrow, but as of right now, I think there's one out here that, for me, satisfies those fundamentals with bringing forth a little bit of quality and structural soundness. So with that being said, I'll go out here and shake the hand of your champion exhibitor, and we'll pull out second from that class and pick reserve. Shirt, a sheep that I think in terms of skeletal design, you really have to appreciate the quality of build. This is a good pattern sheep that's smooth about its shoulder, decent about its chest, or ties that neck in good to the top of its shoulder. A sheep that's level enough down its top. Whenever you view it from behind, not the widest in its pin set, but certainly loads of dimension and shape from behind. You combine that with that high quality skeleton, and I think that's a pretty good sheep. The young lady in the middle, kind of with the darker vibrant sheep, one that's out here in the top three simply in terms of power and dimension. This is a round rib, powerful sheep with loads of dimension and muscle from behind. And as you handle this sheep's top side, very stand-up, bold, expressive rack, really wide and square to the edges of its loin. The disadvantages on this sheep are in terms of skeleton. If you study the sheep from the side, it's just a touch rounder out of its hip, touch rounder in that shoulder. I'd like to give him a little more length and extension in terms of skeleton, maybe more resemble the lamb we talked in front of this sheep to coincide with that added dimension and power of muscle. On the flip side of things, there's a sheep out here that I think in terms of skeleton, muscle shape, and dimension kind of combines those areas. Would I like to change him in his chest floor? Sure, but he's still smooth about his shoulder. He's stout in his forearm, comes to us with dimension of muscle, shape of muscle, really fresh to the touch. Not the boldest in his rib shape, but certainly adequate in that regard. Wherever you step in behind him, you certainly are impressed with the amount of shape and dimension this sheep brings forth. So I think in terms of the fundamentals of market, acceptability in terms of shape, freshness, and dimension, that's certainly one to tie into, and it kind of combines that high quality skeleton that we see in the young man's sheep out here that I talked first. So with that being said, I hope this hasn't confused you too much. I'll go out here and shake the hand of your champion, turn and shake the hand of your reserve.